Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Leech on a podcast where I'm leached onto a certain topic for 15 minutes or more. I'm really hoping to get some intro music because one of my friends who does listen to my podcast was like, "Come on, you got to switch it up sometime in the beginning." I know I'm being welcomed into Leached on, so we might have some changes up here in a bit, but. It is 6:44 a.m. I'm hoping to release this later today in the afternoon. And I'm thinking about changing the structure a little bit about in the weeks that I release an episode, allowing the first episode of the week, which is usually on a Tuesday. I think I should probably preface when my scheduling is. If I do release episodes, I try to release them on Tuesdays or Thursdays at 4 p.m. because it's usually after school in where I live, so it's a lot easier for people to just, listen to the episode and then let me know what they think later in the day, not have to rush. Some people listen to it while studying. Really hope that my stream of consciousness doesn't distract you from your work or anything like that. But I think it's best if I have the first episode of the week that genuinely being an advice session, a nurturing big sister moment to you guys, and allowing my Thursdays to be more of my reflection period. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and start that with the Thursday before Valentine's Day. First Thursday. I'm actually not in a first Valentine's Day, I'm not in a committed relationship. And it's definitely different. I think, I wish I could pull my journal to be able to look at it and then remember, because it's just I totally remember what I write down in it all the time. But there have been some themes that I have noticed I have been kind of going through, at least so far in February. And one of the themes that is most recent and has genuinely been going inside my nerves and playing jump rope with them, and then hitting a ball in the walls of my nerves and just making me itch. Quite literally, I have a breakout in rashes that I'm trying to mitigate because it's freaking me out, and I feel chopped because I'm just scratching at myself. But it's not even scratching at myself because as a joke, oh my gosh, I need it. No, genuinely, I'm scratching myself because it freaking itches. I blame the bipolar weather of the Carolinas. I mean, literally, it was 68 yesterday, and now with a high today is 55. And mind you, it snowed last week. So, but today I definitely wanted to reflect in a theme I've had recently of feeling inferior. And I'll be honest, I think I have always lived life knowing that like J. Cole said, there's always going to be a bitch better than yours. I understand everything I own, everything I am, everything around me, there is better, obviously. But the only thing I personally care and that drives me every day to wake up and keep going and changing to get better is myself. Every day I wake up with the notion that I'm going to be a different person than I was yesterday, a different person who was 2 days ago, and a different person than I'm going to be tomorrow. And I'm okay with that. Whether it's a day that I'm filled with anxiety because I just woke up and felt anxious, or whether it's a day I felt really confident, I'm going to put on a nice outfit, whatever it may be, I'm going to give myself a different feeling than I felt yesterday and learn something of it. And I have done that since I think the first exposure I got to it was my 8th grade year when I got cut in my basketball team. And the motto of my basketball team was our coach was always well, I just want you to get 1% better. And when I got cut, he told me, he was listen, I want you on the practice team because I want you to get better for you to go again and do it in high school. And come my freshman and sophomore year, I played junior varsity basketball for my girls' high school team. So I gained the courage to go out, and I gained the skills and the fitness that was better than when I was in 8th grade because obviously I got cut, So it's one of those things that it was one of my early life failures that allowed me to get better and understand hey, it's okay to suck. It's okay to not go through with it. My freshman year, I tried out for soccer in the spring and I got cut. And for me, that wasn't a sport where I realized, you know what, I want to do it. It's not really a sport that catches my eye. It's not really a sport that I'm that interested in, or that I am going to go to a game and be like, man, I'm actually really excited to play. I think if you look at my yearbook, my freshman year yearbook, they like interviewed me and they're like, well, why do you play basketball? And I was like, I just come out here for the love of the game. I think it's fun and, dribbling a ball and trying to score and competing. And literally, I'm really glad that I didn't play varsity level basketball because genuinely, I just played the game for the sport. I didn't play for scholarships. I didn't play to get recruited. I didn't play to go be D1. I just wanted to know the fundamentals of basketball. So if I'm ever 20 something and somebody needs a pickup player, boy, you got me. I mean, I'll give us some rebounds. I can lay up both hands. But being the point guard and leading the court, no. But I do know the rules and I know enough to, play a game. Maybe not ref a game, but play a game. And so that was my earliest example I can think of off the top of my head of failure. And I think, so going back to my main point, I don't ever feel inferior often because although understanding that there's people smarter than me, especially in so many different realms, I mean, I really enjoy divulging into politics as a hobby. I would never do it as a career. I mean, actually, maybe I'll change my mind later. But as of right now, I don't see a career worthy of it. I enjoy being politically competent of where my values are, my beliefs. When I talk to other people about them, I tend to talk about people with similar beliefs to share information. Not really, I try not to groupthink because even in my personal life, I play devil's advocate to everything. I'm never 100% sure on anything I do because I understand all the complexities of it. I understand that something can go wrong. I can understand that it could be seen as wrong in somebody else's eyes. So I definitely divulge in all the other possibilities of my belief systems, of my values, of the things I do, of the way I portray myself before I even go out and do it. That's already set in stone. However, when I'm speaking to people that I have similar beliefs with, at that point, we're just, hey, did you hear about this? Yeah, did you see this document? Did you read this article? It is always fact-based without any type of bias. It's like we're not sending each other like Fox News or CNN links, right, where you could tell the biases. They're independent journalists who were on the ground of whatever's going on, and or usually the BBC or Al Jazeera, which I have found to be very, very informational. Got me through the Ukraine and Russia war when it first broke out in 2022. So I try to understand all perspectives before I can even be yeah, I believe in this, and if you're opposing me, I've got an argument for it. I try not to make those claims so often and bodaciously as well because I can be proven wrong. However, I usually take advanced placement classes, and I am the type of student, I know this, people like to make fun of me for it, like my friends. I've gotten always positive feedback for it. I've gotten some people that's damn, won't you just shut up? But I'm the type of student that will ask questions. I am the type to email the teacher when I'm really confused and they're not around. I am the type to engage as much as I can because I'm there to learn. If these people don't want to say nothing, that's on them. If in some miraculous way the question I'm asking was the same thing they were wondering, I'm glad that we were on that same wavelength. But otherwise, I do it so I can be a better student, so I can learn, and obviously I can kind of help out the teacher too. They're trying to teach because they want us to know, but know what? Okay, if I'm not knowing, I need your help getting there. So I tend to work collaboratively with my teachers very often. There's subjects that I haven't been that hot in that I've been able to work with the teacher to at least get me a grade that I'm satisfied with. And then there's classes with teachers that I'm very passionate about the subject and I want to know more than what they are offering. And so I'm currently taking advanced placement, government and politics, and I found myself feeling very inferior to my teacher. And I'll be honest, the personality of this teacher is a bit intimidating to me. She does not hold back from sharing her knowledge, and not even just her knowledge, but also the level to which she has went out and gotten her knowledge, allowing us to, sharing with us that she has a master's degree and she knows what she's talking about. And my goal as a student is never to argue with the teacher, right? When I'm speaking up or asking questions or emailing, it's simply because I'm not picking up what they're putting down. There was one time one time in my academic career where I did argue, and this was my advanced placement United States history teacher. And that argument was more just of the sole fact that I had a question about a time period, and he didn't exactly answer my question. He tried to kind of convolute it into a metaphor. Not really a metaphor, but he was trying to like give it to a more modern day example, but I just needed to know the basic fundamentals. And he kept kind of cherry picking around my question, and I quite literally being in the class and being like, can you just answer my question? Like, I don't need the extra details and the extra fluff. I just need you to answer my question in one sentence. And I got a little bit of toot with him. He didn't send me out, thankfully, but we did talk after class. I was like, listen, like, I understand you want to give me more examples and more time, but I can't even compare and contrast if I don't even know what the dang event is. So that's the only one example I can also think of where I've kind of had a difficult conversation with the teacher. But granted, with government and politics, especially advanced placement in a college board exam, your goal isn't to, choose a political side, right? This is all very fundamental. This is all constitutional. This is all like from the founding fathers. This is all using key concepts that revolutionized the American government, right? So you think of terms like federalism, not federalism like anti-federalism, federalist, but federalism in the sense of, okay, how do state governments and national governments work together? Okay, and then you think of legislative bodies, right? That's the Senate and the House of Representatives. Like, how do they work together to pass laws for the common good of the people in the United States of America? So my mentality when taking at least advanced placement, or I'll shorten it, AP Gov, was that I wanted to understand the foundational documents of what founded our government so my political arguments can be more fact and logical. Right? Because otherwise, I won't be spending as much time looking into the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Federalist Papers, Brutus. I wouldn't be Supreme Court of the United States cases in my free time unless it were to benefit my argument specifically. But if I had an overarching knowledge of a little bit of everything, it allows me to, okay, well, hey, I could use the Declaration of Independence in my argument about citizenship and natural born rights personally through my knowledge from arguing in advanced placement argumentative free response questions, in answering multiple choice questions, in reading the books, in taking notes in class. I have that background knowledge from a classroom that is supposed to be college level, to where I can apply that knowledge to my personal arguments, to the conversations I have with other people. And I think especially from 2020, I have done a really good job of being more understanding of my oppositional political beliefs. I'll be honest, when I was younger, I did not engage in as many conversations. I did to an extent, like, if somebody had a different opinion than me, we would talk about it. But as I was younger, I was more quicker to build a rationale about their character, or, oh, you must be this if you can support that. And XYZ, mind you, I was 12. The people I was arguing with was probably maybe at that, like, in age ranges of, like, 11 to maybe the oldest person I argued with was, like, 16. So, realistically, not able to vote. But I think having those civic conversations at a young age is healthy. I think to idolize presidents and have, like, presidential flags or anything that unites you with a candidate at that young of an age is unhealthy. But I think consciously having these conversations at a young age, especially when historically they've always been proven to be taboo and things you don't talk about because it causes arguments, and we're now starting to shift culturally and socially and have these conversations at Thanksgiving, have these conversations on TikTok, have these conversations at school. I think it is becoming more, and I think it should be like that. I mean, obviously you should be aware of what's going on in our government and where you feel on it. In the case that you're going to be able to take a stand, you're going to be able to contribute some way, shape, or form once you turn 18, or even if you get to early vote when you're 16, you get to have these opportunities to represent your voice into the larger bodies of government. And that's something I've learned in AP Gov, but that's also something I had that foundational belief when I was young. I still have it now, and it's followed me all the way through. However, in my AP Gov classroom, knowing that my teacher has more knowledge than me, and I believe her personality to be more, it's rubbed me off like this, to be a bit more sarcastic and a bit more like quick to make a joke, and not even just a joke in like being able to allude to something that'll make you feel dumb if you don't get it. But then if you also do get it, it's also like, dang, she just compared me to like the dumb fat kid, from that 180s movie. So it's kind of like she'll make the joke thinking you won't get it, but if you also do get it, it's like it's the same weight as if you didn't get it. And I guess it's like to preserve my dignity in a sense, I'm not engaging in the classroom as my heart and my identity, and I always have been in classes. So it's kind of created a division in my not my self-esteem, let's not go there. But it's created more a division in my identity. As of late, I've been writing about it and reflecting on it because I'm the type of person to speak up. And even if I didn't agree with something she said, or like the logic seemed a bit skewed from what I previously had known, I'll ask the question in the way that's like, oh, but isn't it true that da 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 da? Or, oh, but like I thought da 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 da. Or, oh, I read somewhere that da da. So it's like, I'll definitely do more like questions, because obviously I'm under this impression. Prior to you talking, I had this idea that this is the way things go. So you're telling me something different, and like, how come? I'm never asking the question to argue with the teacher, debate with the teacher, tell the teacher that she's wrong or they're wrong. But, however, in this class, I'm not even going forth and asking the questions because I feel as though the response that she has to offer is going to make me feel bad about even asking a question in the first place. And I've never had a teacher that has ever made me feel bad about asking a question. I'm not saying like I've had teachers that haven't even been able to answer my questions. So, I think most average students would kind of lose confidence because it's like, dang, the teacher can't even answer my own question. Like, am I asking like a weird question that is irrelevant to whatever we're learning? I've had teachers tell me like, I don't understand your question. Can you re-ask it? And I find a way to, okay, well, what really is my question? Oh, okay, here's my question. I mean, I've had that in most of my science classes. I ask a question, and then I've had like one teacher for 2 of my AP science classes where she's like, can you re-ask that differently? And it's not really like in the sense that she thinks I'm dumb or she doesn't necessarily understand the bulk of my question. It's just we're miscommunicating. So obviously, so I can get my question answered and she can answer a question, I have to reword that, and I'm okay with that. But for some reason in my government class, I'm shying away from even asking the question. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Once again, I feel inferior to my teacher. And I feel intimidated by the fact that I could be proven wrong in a sense, and that something I had believed for so long could be wrong. And I guess in some way, politically, usually I get that answer off of a Google search, or after reading a couple articles, or after consulting with somebody who has a different belief than me and believes in something. I'll shoot them a message and be like, hey, I seen that, the XYZ is happening, and that, they're being taken to a court for these charges. Like, how many times does this happen? What really is the basis of the argument, et cetera, et cetera. So I ask more questions, and they're like, oh, well, no, they were definitely found guilty. And I mean, like, look at the court cases. Like, this is the human normal translation of all these law words and all these, like, statutes and statures or whatever, and all these, like, complicated law words. So in the end, like, it's like, okay, if I get proven wrong, like, dang, I thought they was innocent. And then it's like, nope, they were guilty. And the court's charged and everything like that. Like, I would be okay with being told that I'm wrong from, like, a Google search or a conversation with somebody else. But for some reason, being told that I'm wrong in front of, especially that teacher, just intimidates me. And I guess, it just really does intimidate me. And in some way, shape, or form, I kind of wish it didn't, because obviously I need to learn and I want to learn, and I hope I kind of get over this hunch some way, some shape or form. But with that, another thing I'm noticing, and this does not happen often, is I have become more aware of being able to be quicker to bash myself than not. And once again, I'll say this I say this all the time. I do believe that your tongue is a power tool. I believe that it is a superpower. I do believe you can speak things into existence. I believe karma is real. I have seen it in my own eyes. When bitches try to talk shit about me or talk down on me, next thing you know, something bad's happening. And I'm not saying that I'm praying that against them or I'm hoping that something bad happens against them. It's that I'm so rooted in who I am, and I know how connected I am with myself and my mind and my body and my spirit, and even with a version of myself that exists from here on out, that because it's within this body that I'm in today, I'm so connected with myself and very grounded with where I stand and secure within myself, that those who try to shake me are gonna get like a waveform back, right? Like if you think of a vibration, when you hit it, it'll just like whoop, like it'll go in, but then it'll like just shoot back out. It's like shooting a bullet into like a very into not jello, but like a really bendy wall, like it's solid, but you shoot it, it's like the wall will mold around the bullet just to spit the bullet back out. And I believe with how long I've taken to work on myself and build my self-esteem and build my confidence and stay connected to a higher power that I believe in, I believe that if anybody tries to shake that or bring me down or terrorize me or try to make me feel less worthy than what I know myself to be, they're going to feel it. And not feel it in a way that like they're going to die, but like next thing you know, they lose something, or, flat tire or something minuscule that isn't like detrimental, but it's just like I'll hear things and it's like kind of just been able to prove my consciousness. And I don't mean this in a egotistical way, but it's just in a way like genuinely I respect myself enough that if you try to fuck with me, you're gonna feel it. And it doesn't mean anything I have to do. I don't have to be petty, or I don't have to sit there and cuss you out. I don't have to sit there and tell you that what you did was wrong and you're gonna pay for it. No. My retaliation is taking back and gaining that energy and giving those efforts back into me, because you try to remove that from me. And in you trying to remove that from me, you will lack something. I have always worked in that unison with my mind, body, and spirit. And I believe, and I've seen other people who in those same ways are that secure and rooted in themselves, that in times of my insecurity and in times where I feel less than, and I'm trying to make somebody else feel less than, I'll go out of my way to make somebody else feel like shit. And then in return, them being so enrooted in themselves and so confident and so sure of themselves has been able to be that wall. And then it's like next thing you know, I'm losing bonds. I'm losing my phone. That happened one time. One time I lost money. One time I got into a really bad argument, and genuinely I believe that these are all signs from a higher power that's like trying to keep you in check, because in reality, us being so mortal and human, I believe, and honestly a bit blind to when we make our own mistakes, you're gonna feel it some way universally. And I have experienced karma, and I have also seen others experience karma from trying to fuck with me. So that's why I heavily believe in karma. I do believe that it can be good, and I believe it can be bad. I mean, there have been times that I've been a part of pay it forward chains, and there's been times that I have been insanely blessed. In reverse, like I've found money. I've had great opportunities. I've been able to reconnect with people. I've been able to elevate my style, elevate my looks, elevate my confidence, and gain all of these opportunities through one small action, through one act of kindness, through being there for somebody when they needed it, because you just want to do it out of the good of your heart. I do believe that when you could shift the narrative instead of thinking things so transactional, which that's another point that I'm getting into, a theme I've noticed recently, is stepping away from me being very transactional. Growing up, I have always just been transactional, but not in a way that I blame my parents, because I'll be honest, and I'll say this a lot, most of my childhood and all of my developmental systems that built me who I am are not built by my parents, are not built by my family, but rather the environments that my school was in. And I think I give a lot of power to my friends at the time, to my teachers at the time, to the people I engaged with while I was in school, whether that be elementary school or middle school, because high school I'm like still going through it, obviously. I give that power to them because I spend more time there. I spend a lot of my time in school. I've been very open about this. I'm not very close-knit with my family. That's no shame on my family. It's something that actually when we try to force it to be more close-knit, throws up for a cycle. It's a bit more odd. I do love my mother. I love my brother, and I love my father. I love all of my distant relatives. I'm in contact with all of them and mutuals with them on every social media platform I can. I'll tell them happy birthday. And I will admit, with it being my senior year, I have forced and try to make sure that my family can be a bit more connected, because I've already established when I go out to go make a life for myself, I'm serious about it. And I'm really hoping to be more independent and be able to be okay by myself, since I've spent so much time not being okay alone. I've spent so much time relying on others. I've spent so much time with others that I feel like it is a good point in my life to be able to give all that time back into me, and if anything, give more time to me than I have others. I know I've done it since a very young age. It's conversations I've had with my mother. It's memories I can even recall that I've been more quicker to give more to others, and others as friends, give more to friends than I ever have my family or myself. And in times of my life where I've shifted the narrative, or I've never really shifted the narrative, right now I'm in a point in my life where I am shifting the narrative. I think the best example is Christmas. I'll be honest, Christmas isn't a big holiday for me. I've worked the last 2 Christmases, and I enjoy working on Christmas because I love being a part of somebody's Christmas. I mean, I'm a part of strangers' Christmas, whether they'll remember me or not, whether I remember them or not. I worked at Starbucks. I was able to make their drinks, write the cute gifts, be able to doodle in the cups. I enjoyed being there for that experience because I was able to tell people Merry Christmas and Happy Christmas or Happy Holidays. And I was able to make sure that, whether I see them again or not, I'm going to give them a good experience for the little period that we're interacting with each other. But coming home, Christmas just has never been a big thing for my family. We don't really do gifts. A kind of bigger thing we do is like a big meal. And I'll be honest, if there's any holiday my family celebrates seriously, it's New Year's. And honestly, I appreciate that because I feel like that's a good transformative period. I think that's a good time to reinvent everything you want to. Anything that you complained about last year, girl, this is your chance. And granted, technically New Year's it's a new day every day, so you should treat every day like New Year's. But I think with the culture and the social and the society around New Year's, it's a bit more important holiday for me and my family at home. But Christmas isn't that big. And last year, since I was working a lot more, I was able to give a lot more last Christmas than I really got, and I'm okay with that. And it got to a point where I was a bit emotional with my mom. I was like, I guess in some way, my mom has always raised us on the fact, you can't compare socioeconomics to other people. And I think that's really difficult in a time period where, get ready with me and hauls are such a big thing. Because you want to see what everybody else got. And, oh, my gosh, she got that Kendra Scott necklace that I was really wanting. I put it on my Christmas list, but my mom didn't get it. And most people aren't braggy about it. 99% of the people that I engage with conversation that do hauls or engage in hauls aren't looking at it from, oh, why she get that perspective? It's more of just a lacking perspective. It's more like, oh, I wish I got that, or oh my gosh, that looks so good, I'm gonna add that on my list last year. Kind of just a little oh, I want this, oh, okay, I'm gonna put it on my list. And then it's oh, if I don't get it, then it's I put the effort of putting it on my list. Now granted, I have interacted with some people who have been bratty about it, or just oh, my dad didn't get the newest this, or my mom didn't get that. And I do believe that those people have a very humble upbringing. I think I'm really grateful that my mom taught me from a really young age in that, there's always going to be better than what you have. And I'm going to give you the best I can to my ability, but sometimes the best I can give you is a hug and a kiss and a Merry Christmas. And that's what I got last year. And I'm okay with that. I mean, we kind of did stocking stuffers. I did get stuff. I got a tea, I got a cologne, and, I got a gift card. I got a Starbucks gift card from my mom. And then my brother doesn't work, so I didn't get anything from him. But I will admit, last Christmas I definitely did give. And it was the first time I've ever done that, at least with my family. So I guess I got a little bitter. I'll be honest. I got a little bitter because I was like, well, if I wasn't expecting gifts out of my friends, but my family, something. And in reality, I did get something. I got cologne and I got teas. So I ended up being more grateful for just the chance that I was able to be my family's Santa Claus this year compared to my mom, who's done it for so long, damn, maybe give her a break for once. And especially knowing that I'm going off to college, I feel like it was nicer that I was playing Santa Claus because I was able to leave a good memory. I got my brother a massage gun. I got my brother a knee pad. I got my brother Legos. I got my brother like a skincare set. Like I really went all out. I got my mom a like memory foam cushion. I got my mom scents and soaps and like little like a bunch of stocking stuffers actually, like little creams and moisturizers and lotions and nail cutting. Like I got her a bunch of self-care stuff because my mom just likes stuff like that. I know my mom better than to like get her high-end jewelry that she's just never gonna wear. So I guess and Christmas is also kind of just like also knowing your audience. I was able to, you know, put my name in Secret Santas, and I didn't even give my Secret Santa gift or give my Secret Santa because just so many things happened. And I was also able to get stuff for my friends, whether it was like it was one item. Like I got one item for my friends and then they got me one item, so that it was really nice in that I still got engaged with it with my friends. So it's like I did get stuff for Christmas, but not to the amounts like I ever did as a kid. And I guess like personally for me to ever compare that, I'm gonna be miserable. And I've been there, done that. I have compared my Christmases, especially to when I was a kid, or my Christmases to other people, and I do get very like, oh, I wish I got more, like am I not deserving of more? And then I just realized at the end of the day it's just the way that things worked out. And I mean, I work. If I wanted something that bad, I'll go provide it for myself. Like, or realistically, my mom kind of gives more throughout the year than she really does on one day. So if I really did want something, I could ask my mom to give it to me later in the year, you know? So it's kind of just like, that's just my family dynamic, though. That doesn't mean that other people's family dynamic is weird or horrible or wrong for being different than mine. It's just, in times I've noticed that I've stepped away from being more transactional. For the longest, same thing in my relationships and friendships, I thought like, if I scratch your back, you have to scratch my back. And I guess I don't really have a specific like why or where I got that from, if I'm quite honest. I don't know if it was like something with my parents or a lack of abandonment. But if I have to think back to more of my friendships, I have been in a lot of friendships where I've had expectations. That has been one of my biggest kind of coming of age problems I can like vividly remember, is setting expectations on those around me. And once again, since those who I spend more of my time with are my friends than really my family, I tend to basically put expectations on strangers, on people who really don't owe it to me, you know? And especially at such a young age, like, I mean, if this isn't foundational for them, it's definitely foundational for me. And it's like, I'm already sitting here, 12, expecting that I'm going to get FaceTime calls every night and be invited to the house party, when in reality, they got dinner to be eating with their family and homework to do, So it's like, I guess knowing that I had more free time and so much to give, one of my biggest problems at such a young age was giving more out of my cup than it was replenished. And that was saying, I never replenished my own cup. I had my cup usually replenished by a romantic relationship. And as sad and I guess like traumatic that sounds, I am very grateful for it, because it's taught me, well, one, what my standards are, and it's taught me like genuinely how to love myself. And that's saying I had to go through periods of like destroying myself and honestly failure. There have been times I have loved people more than I know that they loved me. And let me take that back. More than I felt loved by them. And I think at such a young age, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Sit down and have a conversation with them and be like, hey, for me to feel validated and secure, I need you to da-da-da. No. If I'm sitting there telling them what I need and my needs and my wants and being secure, they're walking away. And honestly, that happened more times often than not. I will compliment myself that I was as secure as a 14-year-old could be. And honestly, I got a lot of backlash from my partners that I can remember, because I was like looking through screenshots in my Google Photos in arguments I would have with my partners, and they would literally be like, you know what you want, like, I don't know if I want this anymore, like, you're so sure, you're using all these big words, and criticizing me for having my feelings, or even being able to proficiently express my feelings in a way that they just simply don't understand. And in the same way, I guess, since we were just on different levels of how we've experienced love before, at times I definitely have been lacking. And it's one of those things, like, I never want to victimize myself, because in a way, as people have fell short to me, I fell short to others. I've disappointed others. I'm aware of that. And I've hurt others. And I think another thing I've noticed is being able to give myself grace in understanding that, yes, I'm human and I am going to hurt others. I am going to be the villain in other people's story. And in some way or like, again, coming of age, I've tried to avoid that as much as I can. I have everything I've loved, I have gripped onto it and left my claw marks, then been able to embrace it and been like, you know what, this is really nice, I appreciate it. If you want to go away, I'm not holding you tightly where you have to stay. And I think I do definitely have a lot of abandonment issues. I Don't know where that came from. Don't worry, guys. I have therapy today. I will be talking about it with my therapist. But honestly, I don't know where really it stems from. So that's why I don't tend to say like, oh, well, I mean, I'm sitting here saying like, yes, I have a lack of abandonment somewhere. I just cannot name where. So instead of trying to really focus on the how it came, I really definitely want to focus on the shifting out of it. And so that's another shift I definitely have been more secure in. And that's showing in ways of like, I've talked to people and genuinely when I have nothing to say, I'm not really forcing myself to say stuff anymore. I'm genuinely just getting to a point where I can be like, okay. And being silent, like genuinely being silent. Not pulling yeah, so would you, yeah. Like instead of trying to just force a conversation, I've learned that and that's not diminishing that I have nothing to say. I can talk about a speck of dust for hours. Genuinely. I know that skill in myself. I know that is a strength. I can talk about anything with anyone, and I have always embraced that about myself. But there genuinely are some periods where it's just like, I don't want to put my time into talking because I'm working on something. I don't want to put my time into talking because I'm multitasking and I'd rather focus on what I'm first doing than a conversation. Sometimes I don't want to put that time and energy because genuinely I'm enjoying the vibe we got going on. And for the longest time, that also used to be one of my problems. I think I have an episode where I said, like, I couldn't bear silence. I had to always be talking. And I think for me to be able to sit here and say, like, honestly, I can tolerate silence now, I'm giving myself a pat on the back because I never genuinely would have thought that I could get here. But it's got to a point where, like, I'm more okay being, like, spending a lot of time with introverts because for the longest, like, yeah, I like introverts when they're feeling extroverted, and when they want to be extroverted, I'd pull back and be like, girl, I'll catch you next time you're extroverted because right now you being introverted is I'm not feeling it. But at the same time, it's not my place to make somebody else feel ashamed of their personality. I mean, if it's in their personality to not speak every single thing on their mind unless asked or unless, like, they're in the mood to, it's not my place to expect that out of them. Once I get those like extroverted phenomenons, appreciate it what it is, and then when they're introverted, also appreciate them because obviously I appreciate them as a person if I can, if I want to spend time around them, if I want to talk to them. So that kind of detachment of that expectation of being 110% all the time because I can show up as 110% all the time, and instead genuinely being able to understand some people's 100% is my 20%, but I love them for that and I like being around them for that too, because at the same time I've been around people that have the same personality trait as me, and I get tired so quick. I turn into the introvert. So in some ways, as I can revert to that introverted state, I can't go out and shame introverts for being themselves and giving me the 1% of the extroverted, like, drops. Like, that's how I'm thinking, like, at a video game, like, the special events, So... And in time, I've had arguments with more of my introverted friends. Like, girl, you was so fun the other day. Like, why are we feeling, now, why don't you want to go troll at the McDonald's when the other day you was able to go out into a restaurant with me and sit down and eat? Those are way two different events. Probably sitting down and eating was a lot for my introverted friends. And now I'm trying to go 110 and go troll? Like, whoa, social anxiety has to be removed, and mine is non-existent. I would have to expect them to not have any sense of social anxiety to go do something like that when they probably had a bunch of social anxiety doing the bare minimum for me. And that's definitely also something I've been able to digest and be able to learn and navigate through. And honestly, it's one of those like kind of healing processes or journeys I'm going through where I'm not really, like, losing anything or gaining anything. It's rather more like I'm just I'm transmitting the... No, I'm not transmitting. I'm, like, transfusing my mindsets and previous beliefs I had with it myself. And at the end of the day, I always try to get better. And this is, like, Thursday little review catch-up day. And this is probably my longest episode yet. No, I've got some collaboration. But this is my longest solo episode. So if you made it to the end, low-key, I want y'all to comment down below 2026 if you made it this far. Because I want to see who actually listened all the way to the end. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see y'all later.